Hey guys, what's happening? What's going on? So this is my Google Pixel 4 XL 1 month review. I've had the phone for a month. I did a kind of first week hands-on things I've noticed differently because I'm coming from a Samsung phone going to the Pixel 4. I'll touch on that a little bit. I'm gonna go over goods, some of the things I noticed that I don't like, it's more towards me, things I've noticed. I haven't done too much quote unquote research on the phone. I'm just going off of like what I liked when I got the phone, the basic research I did. Camera, screen stuff, all that. Going for kind of it being my daily driver, day to day, every single day, take it to work with me. I do everything, social media, everything on this phone. This is my only phone, so let's get into it. Some of the really good things I really like about this phone is the color. The color ratio of it is like beyond, like so much better than my Samsung, which was the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus. So it's a 2-year jump, I think, roughly, give or take. Color difference is crazy different. I love the color dynamic on this phone. Being like a videographer and everything, color balance is a huge thing. So like the dynamic it has is amazing. I really like that. Going into kind of the big feature that this phone had from Google is the smooth screen. There is a setting where you can set it to always be 90, like smooth screen setting, they call it. But it does kind of adapt to like some apps just don't work with it as well as others. The Android software on this phone already had an update. I think it was like two and a half weeks into me owning it. It was like right as it came out, and that kind of made that smooth screen better for apps. Didn't really change for the menu. I mean, it's always been kind of like that smooth look to it. Just you can see how that's going there. But it did update a little bit better for apps. It's kind of like Facebook, Instagram. I noticed it just got a little bit better with the scroll rate and everything like that. That's just me. I don't know if that actually is, if that's just me adapting to the phone more, or if that's actually through the update. As I talked about in my 1 week review, no fingerprint scanner at all, nothing. I was really used to the kind of like just having my pointer finger here, hitting it there every time to unlock. As I also talked about in my 1 week review, the Face ID is hands down amazing. Since I got the phone and within that first week, I had a couple hesitant like Face ID kind of logins that I showed you guys or talked about in my first video. Haven't had an issue since. If anything, it's gotten better. Works really well. The only times I have issues with it is if I'm trying to look at it from like the side here, when I'm just kind of like, or maybe it's on my dash in my car and like look at it, but those are times that you really don't need it to unlock. So that's like, I guess good, but those are the only times I noticed it really not working. It's not a bad thing. It works really well. That's pretty much all I got. It's a great addition. I did not like the Face ID on the Samsung 8 Plus, the Galaxy. That might be because I was just so used to the fingerprint scanner. I used it for like a week or two. Wasn't a huge fan, didn't work always that great. This is working phenomenal. There have been no hiccups, so to say, from going from the fingerprint scanner to the face scanner, personally. The big hiccup I have noticed is that Google kind of just came out with it. They didn't really touch on it too much. They didn't give time for developers and apps and all that stuff to kind of update with the face scanner because other phones still use fingerprint. I'm noticing that a lot of my bank apps, so I've gone back to having to do a password or a pattern or a code every time to log in with those apps. Not the biggest of deals, but it was kind of nice to, log into, just kind of check my checking savings account and stuff just with a fingerprint, having that all set up. It's not a huge hiccup, but it is noticeable when it comes up with fingerprint and then it's like, well, I can't log in with fingerprint, so I actually have to click off of the fingerprint to do password or code because they were set up originally with a fingerprint scanner. I'm sure 6 months down the road or any long, soon to middle of the year, middle of 2020, we will be seeing a lot of those apps kind of updating to the face scanner. The one big thing that I knew was gonna be, potentially I knew was gonna be a problem, and a lot of people have asked on, is battery life. I talked about this a little bit in my last video where it was something I just kind of had to run with. You know, I wasn't trying to save battery, so to say, knowing that there was a potential bad battery coming up. But it's not a bad battery, it's just kind of a 1-day use battery. I say that I charge my phone every night. My going to bed routine is plugging my phone in along with getting ready for bed. That hasn't changed. I've done that with all my phones forever. So I do get about a day's use out of the phone, but I am noticing, you know, if I use Bluetooth, you know, my car's Bluetooth, but sometimes I listen to Bluetooth at work, Bluetooth headphones, and I do notice that drains a little bit more. I'm leaving work at, you know, 5 o'clock and I'm at 50 to 40%. I have an hour drive to work, so that's listening to music or podcasts or anything Bluetooth connected to the car all the way to work, hour drive. With the general use at work, you know, a couple texts here or there, I'm noticing about, on a good day, 5.5 hours screen time. On a sort of say bad day, when I use the phone more, if it's a weekend or if I'm doing a lot of Bluetooth, a lot of music listening, podcast listening, I'm getting 4 hours total screen time. That's not 4 hours in a day, that's just total screen time running 4 hours. So it's definitely, now that's with the 90 hertz screen on all the time, because I really like that feature. Obviously you turn it down to 60, that's gonna give you more battery life. That's pretty much doing everything at the max, so to say max on the phone, and I'm getting a day. So if you're someone that runs the phone 2 days, you try to get 2.5 days out of it, unless you're putting this phone at low screen res, you know, the 60 hertz screen, brightness, everything down, you're gonna get, you might not even still get 2 days out of it. Definitely could have done better on battery. That's my one like big complaint about this phone, is battery life is not there. It's not there, especially for someone like me who runs max. Now I do have a charger in my car, you know, so I don't always do it because I just kind of throw it up on the pop socket holder, the little vent guy, and then, you know, I just click Spotify and it starts playing whatever I was listening to, and it's usually what I listen to on the way to work or wherever, you know. Don't always think to plug it in. If I do that, I'm leaving work with maybe 80%. That's leaving my house. That's leaving my house at 7 o'clock in the morning on average, and leaving work at 5 o'clock. If I do charge it, I'm leaving work around 70 to 80%. If I don't charge it in the car on my way to work, I'm leaving work anywhere from 70 to 50%, just purely based on usage of any sort of music listening, Bluetooth, how much, you know, I do screen time at work. Obviously try to keep that down to as much as a minimum as possible. But you know, it's different day to day, but on average, I'm leaving work anywhere from 80 to 50, and that just purely depends on if I'm charging throughout the day. For someone who doesn't charge throughout the day or doesn't want to, it might be something that you would have to do. I never really charge it while I'm at home. I don't really have a charger by my desk. I have a charger by the bed, and then a charger in the car. That's it. I don't really even charge at work as much. I thought about doing it, but that thought's only come because of the battery life. The Samsung 8, I could almost go 1.5 to 2 days on my usage. If that gives you an idea, I could go about 1.5 days. I could go to work, come home, fall asleep, forget to plug the phone in, and still make it half day, at least half the next day. This phone, I'm plugging it in at around anywhere from either a dead phone, or 10%, anywhere from 10% left on the battery to a dead phone. I'm plugging it in every single night. Just the one big thing about this phone is battery life. It's not going to suffice for someone who does not charge every single day. I know that's a big routine for a lot of people, but going from the Samsung to this, it's definitely a downgrade on battery. But then everything else is an upgrade, and that's where I just am using the big features. So then that means the battery suffers because it doesn't compete with all those big features. Another big thing I noticed is having that 6 gig RAM in the phone makes opening and switching apps super easy. Everything's pretty smooth. I haven't really noticed any sort of jitter or anything like that. One other thing that I still am getting used to is kind of like the back swipe from the side of the screen. So from the right side of the screen, you swipe and you go back. If you don't hit that just right, you will kind of like slide through things on the screen if it goes up and down because it senses the thumb. That's one big thing I've noticed there. That might also be because of my case. My case does go around kind of the top of the phone, so I might catch the case and then hit the screen in the middle instead of kind of grabbing the side of the screen and going back. One big thing that I noticed that this has similar with the iPhone 11 is that it has the kind of swipe up to get to your menu screen. You kind of have to hold it there for a second and that you can clear out all your open tabs, apps, all that stuff. I am still getting kind of used to that because if you swipe up all the way, you get all your apps, everything you have. If you kind of swipe up half and hold, then you get your recent items that you can close out on. That's something that I'm getting used to, and it's standard now, obviously, but it took me a couple weeks to kind of get that because I'm used to the back home button or the hold the home button, and then everything opens up and you can clear it or swipe up and all that stuff. But it's not as big of an issue as I thought it was going to be. Those are kind of my month in review, first month of owning this phone. My kind of like closing on this phone is that I like it. I like it a lot. The issues that I have with it are very small for me. The biggest one is battery. I can get a whole day out of it. It's just I'm watching battery life a little bit more than I used to, which I feel like I shouldn't have to be doing with a brand new phone. One big thing with the camera that I like is that I have it set to shoot a raw photo with the regular photo because I do a lot of Lightroom editing on my phone. So if I want to take a photo, bring it into Lightroom, I can bring in the raw image, which is really cool. That's more on a photographer standpoint there. If you don't really know photo editing, I wouldn't recommend doing anything with the raw. Just kind of snap the phone photo. Phone photo is great. I've noticed that that is a huge upgrade from the S8 Plus. That's kind of like should happen, especially going to one of the best, if not the best, camera phone on the market. But yeah, so that's kind of my month review on this phone. It's day-to-day is definitely amazing. Battery is not great. And would I recommend this phone to other people? I think so, with the warning of the phone. If you are a person that charges the phone every night and you're not doing 24/7 usage, like if you're at work and you don't use the phone at work much, or like if you're not on the phone all day, every day, constant, you'll get a day-to-day with a charge in every day. Like you have to charge every night or day or whatever. So that would be my one thing I tell people. It's a great phone. I love it. I love the way it holds. I love the camera's great. I love, the screen res, the color dynamics, like I said. The biggest thing for me is the battery. And that if someone goes, should I get that phone? I'd go, yes, but just know you're gonna be watching your battery. You're gonna be charging. And I know that's a big thing to steer people away because they don't wanna be watching their battery. I don't mind it, but I do notice that being the biggest downfall from going from the Samsung to the Pixel. I really hope this helps you guys, and let me know what you're thinking below. If you want me to make another detailed video or like way more detailed video, let me know. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe, give it a like if you guys liked it, and let me know what you think below. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.